Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Our 13th lesson of this series is drawn from the meditation manual known as Easy Enlightenment, which is available, whose PDF version is available for free download. This morning, let us explore the lessons found in Vajra Sattva's iconography. Together, let's recite. Buddhism has been around for a very long time, and over many centuries, many folks have dreamed up different ways of organizing the oh so many teachings that each claim to have come from the Buddha. Some actually did. It is deliciously ironic that the Buddha's oldest teachings which were also his most powerful, were squirreled away by elitists who described them as the great completion stage, or Dzogchen in Tibetan. For they were more enamored with their own self-importance than with the well-being of others. Prahe Vajra of the Swat Valley was a great reformer of the Buddha's teachings, who had no use for secrets or mysticism. In his 5 texts, let's rephrase this, Treatese, probably misspelled that. There we go. Whoops, that was an error, wasn't it? Wow. Okay. In his 5 treatises, the archetype he mentions most is depicted as a scantily clad fellow the color of a cumulus cloud. In Sanskrit, this archetype of the mastery of mindfulness and meditation is known as Vajra Sattva. Let's see if that still fits on the page. It does not. Okay, in Sanskrit, this archetype of the purity that comes from the mastery of mindfulness and meditation is known as Vajra Sattva. In Tibetan, he is known as Dorje Sempa, and in English as Diamond Mind, or the diamond-like strength of a mind well harmonized with awareness and release. His cross legs are reminiscent of the duality we notice as we inhale, and the non-duality we feel as we relax into our exhalation. His 6 ornaments of anklets, bracelets, armlets, triple necklace, earrings, and semicircular crown remind us of a bodhisattva's 6 perfections of generosity, kindness, patience, effortless effort, mindfulness, and meditation. His 5 garments of skirt, belt, shawl, scarf, and semicircular crown tie remind us of the mirror-like wisdom, discerning wisdom, all-pervasive wisdom, all-accomplishing wisdom, and equalizing wisdom latent within us. Now, I think I'm going to add something here, so please bear with me. Okay, here we go. Let's see if that fits on the page. No, it doesn't, so we shall hit this button right here. His 5 garments remind us of the mirror-like wisdom that is the effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing aversion as it arises. Do bear with me. I do my best editing when I'm live. I don't know why. That's when my creative juices are at their peak. Discerning wisdom that is the effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing avarice as it arises. All-pervasive wisdom. That is the effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing confusion as it arises. All-accomplishing wisdom that is the effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing jealousy as it arises. And equalizing wisdom. That is the effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing pride as it arises. Well, it would appear that I lost an image. I'm going to have to go harvest it from someplace else. Oh boy. Or as they used to say in the Disney versions of Winnie the Pooh, oh bother. Let's see. There we go. That's the one. No, it's not. That's the one I wanted to use. Okay. Copy. And paste. Okay, so that is a future project I will return to after class. Copy. Nice. Okay, once again, thank you for your patience. Mm. Fabulous. Here we go. In his right hand, Dorje Sempo holds a diamond symbol, Vajra in Sanskrit and Dorje in Tibetan, reminding us that during our inhalations, okay, so this is the brass bit which is supposed to represent a diamond. In his right hand, Dorje Sempo holds a diamond symbol in Vajra in Sanskrit and Dorje in Tibetan, reminding us that during our inhalations, we have evolved to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and physically notice perceptions such as sense, flavors, sensations, sounds, and sights, experiences such as emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings, bases of mindfulness such as the mental, the interpersonal, the physical, and the circumstantial, and dualities such as the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, and the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. In his left hand, Vajra Sattva holds a bell, Ganta in Sanskrit, or Drilbu in Tibetan, reminding us that during our exhalations, we're wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that That which we noticed during our previous inhalation could literally feel as less stressful, less permanent, and less defining as the fading tone of a bell. And figuratively feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although looks tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. This is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Well, that's the last conclusion, but I feel like I skipped a bit, so let's add some more, shall we? All right. By mastering this mindfulness and meditation, to the point that we practice them, spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. We experience the purity from the tyranny. Hmm. All right, one more image and we're done. Paste. Sadly, I was incorrect. There's one more image after this, and then we'll be done, and I will tie this up in a metaphoric bow because I've lost the narrative momentum because of all this silly editing. Okay, a little bit lower. Okay. Okay, close enough for government work. Now, let us... Here we go. By mastering this mindfulness and meditation to the point that we practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively, we experience Vajra Sattva's purity from the tyranny of concern, competition, and cruelty. Or better yet, this is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Thank you so much for enduring the editing, which I don't like to do every time, but sometimes just sneaks up on me and pounces like a kitten on their sibling. Let us now shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Let us meditate like a Jedi. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping, this is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's play with these visual aids which are instrumental to familiarizing ourselves with meditation and mindfulness, or more accurately, which are useful for helping us peer through the metaphoric lens of neuroscience to dispel unnecessary confusions which have surrounded mindfulness and meditation. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything's sex. Oh, sure, 10% of us are able to transcend our cultural conditionings and instead be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. But the majority of us, for the majority of our lives, have been rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. This refers to all humans, including those who fancy themselves meditation teachers. Therefore, it should come as little surprise that so many of these rigid teachers implore their students to actively focus and actively analyzing, thus exhausting the medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex to the point that they begin presenting with symptoms of depression and triggering our amygdala, the seat of the cowardice and cruelty that fuel our competitive tendencies, none of which are going to give us the peaceful, loving, fulfilling life we desire. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, our spinal cord, nicknamed the autonomic nervous system and by the ancients known as the key to our Buddha nature. Why is that? Well, every time we inhale, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of the spinal cord, known today as our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. Our sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice mind's antics of perception, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. But what are we to do with all that which we noticed? Simple. Every time we exhale, we have evolved to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, kind of like bookends found on a shelf. The fancy term for this is our autonomic nervous system, and it has evolved to support our physical relaxation and mental release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. Complex life forms on this planet evolved to think symbolically. Perhaps that is why we find figures of speech everywhere. Consider the following. As we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, a gifted English teacher will remind us that a synonym is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand? That's a lot of information. Let's look at this from a very practical perspective. Mindfulness is simply noticing mind's antics. The key to doing this passively is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Each time we feel our diaphragm pull down and in as we inhale. The key to meditation is simply relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. And it can be done, the best way to perform it passively is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel our diaphragm reset into its upright position as we gently exhale. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about every 5 minutes or so. And if you are prone to arthritis, please be sure to adjust your legs every 15 minutes or so. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs every 15 minutes or so. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about every 5 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I look forward to... I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.